CCAD kind of ran the roost, and L3 would just bend over and, do whatever that the CCADers wanted. So that ended up causing a lot of our contractors to get treated very unfairly. If we had a guy that, him and a CCAD supervisor got into it, then next thing you know, the contractor's out the door, even though necessarily the contractor might not have done anything wrong, and the CCAD supervisor could have been in the wrong. But just because the CCAD supervisor had a problem with one of our contractors, the company wouldn't stand up to them. They just do whatever that they wanted, and that caused a lot of heartache with our guys. The grievance procedure, especially having that, and even having that over, even the interim one we had over the last few months, has made a world of difference with those kind of things. It gives the employee a path to get through that stuff and actually be able to hold management accountable for doing things like that. When you'd come to your manager with a problem with a CCADer and tell them, hey, this is what's going on, a lot of the time it would just kind of get swept under the rug. But now with having a grievance procedure and paperwork to back it all up, it really holds management accountable and makes sure that they actually do what they're going to say and take care of the people in the process. A lot of the information they put out was false. The company themselves, they sent out several letters. We had production meetings where normally we were only supposed to be talking about like safety things and stuff like that. Certain production supervisors, not all of them, but certain ones were bringing it up in the meeting, being very negative against the union, trying to basically scare people, going, well, you don't need them, you can stand on your own 2 feet. You're a man that can handle things like this, and they always put the whole, well, everything's on the table. You might end up losing things by having the union negotiate, which after talking to the business reps, over the last few months, that's something that was clearly never going to happen. With the one we've got a very strong business rep, in my understanding and from what I've seen with him, and he would never allow anything to get worse than the way it is. He was very, very forward about making sure, he's like, we're not going to go back. You're not going to lose things. All you're going to do is gain things. And that was something the company tried scaring a lot of people about, saying that they're not going to be able to do anything for you. They're just going to end up taking money out of your pocket with dues and this, that, and the other, and you're just going to end up losing out, and you're no longer going to you're not going to be able to control how you operate with the company, which is completely false. The union doesn't take your ability to negotiate or talk to the company away. It just gives you the assistance, somebody to back you up when you go in and talk to the company. Part of the things they were trying to use to scare us was, oh, well, the pie's only so big. If you might get lower medical insurance or higher wages, but you'll lose this or you'll lose that. You'll lose things that the company already gives you, which is completely false. It's not true. Anything we gain from the company doesn't even come out of the company's bottom line. The federal government just considers it a cost of doing business, essentially, so they don't have any problem paying it. It just gets passed on to them. So everything we've got, and the company obviously is always going to fight to try to be a good steward of whatever money they get from the government, but we didn't lose anything in the process. We didn't have to give up our insurance or give up, our safety glasses voucher to get, boots or more time off or better wages. That's not the way it worked. Everything we got, we didn't lose anything. All we did was gain stuff out of the whole situation. I mean, the IAM has been around for 125 years. That right there should tell you everything you need to know. You have people that would be out there and be like, oh, well, the union's lying to you about this or that, and they're not going to tell you the truth. They're just going to tell you what you want to hear. Well, the guys have been around for 125 years. They're not going to risk their integrity or their business or their reputation by lying to you and telling you false things. That's just not going to happen. I mean, these guys have been doing this for so long, over a century. I think they've kind of got it figured out as far as what they're doing. And I know the guys we've got that have been working our service contracts have been doing this for decades. That's the guys from the Grand Lodge that have come down, that have talked to us, that have helped out with everything, as well as our business rep who's been doing it for quite a while and handles these contracts with people all the time. I think he's got like 25 contracts. This is not his first time doing this. He knows what he's doing. And it's clear our aerospace representatives were very good about that as well. They've worked, I mean, our company alone, L3, they've worked several contracts with, so they had a good working relationship. They knew what they were doing, and clearly they did a good job because of all the things we got out of the contract. Everybody I've met was a mechanic at one point or another. These aren't guys that were business degree guys and stuff like that that got involved in the union just so they could move up and be businessmen and wear a suit every day. That's not what these guys are about. Every one of these guys at one point or another busted their knuckles on a wrench or, was painting an aircraft or doing something like that, something in maintenance. Specifically with us, and it's the same thing in other sectors where we represent people like nurses and security guards and all those other things. This isn't the typical union you hear about in the news. It's a completely different animal, and for anybody wondering about the IAM and considering trying to get involved, is get in there and talk to the guys. Find the Grand Lodge reps, find the business reps, find the guys that have been doing this for 20, 30 years and have been involved with the IAM. They can tell you better than anyone how much different this animal is than all the rest of them out there.